the magic of Disney's castles and smiling characters, danger is struck in shocking ways. From the doomed journey of a guest on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad to the tragic accident that befell a child on Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin, these attractions have witnessed moments of terror and loss. Brace yourself for the 15 Disney rides with tragic histories and fatal accidents.
Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. What could possibly go wrong on a wild, rollicking ride through the Old West? In 2003, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad delivered a crash course in maintenance mishaps with deadly consequences. Marcelo Torres, a 22-year-old guest, tragically lost his life due to severe internal injuries after a derailment caused by a maintenance error. 10 other riders suffered injuries in the chaos. This wasn't your average theme park hiccup. On September 5, 2003, a routine ride turned disastrous when a mechanical failure led to a train jumping the tracks, throwing passengers from their seats. The accident didn't just claim Marcelo, it also injured 10 others, casting a dark shadow over what should have been a fun day at the park. Investigations revealed that improper maintenance allowed a critical wheel assembly to malfunction, leading to the derailment. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, designed to give guests a thrilling mine train adventure, is located at Disneyland, California. Since its opening, it has been a favorite for thrill seekers, but that day exposed the dark side of amusement park rides, where a tiny oversight can spiral into tragedy. When tragedy struck the place called the happiest place on Earth, Disney didn't hesitate. They completely revamped safety and maintenance to prevent a repeat. But it's a sobering reminder that behind every adrenaline rush, there's a serious need for rigorous safety checks. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad's tragic past shows that even the smallest slip can have deadly consequences. Blizzard Beach Slide Injury. A trip down the slides at Blizzard Beach turned anything but harmless for Eugene Strickland. In 2021, Eugene took a ride on the downhill Double Dipper slide at Blizzard Beach, the Florida water park disguised as a snowy winter escape. But instead of a smooth ride, he ended up airborne, allegedly because he exceeded the slide's weight limit. A harsh landing on the slide surface left him with what he calls permanent catastrophic injuries and permanent disfigurement. Not the kind of souvenir anyone wants to bring home from a Disney trip. Naturally, Eugene decided Disney World wasn't off the hook. He sued Walt Disney Parks and Resorts for $50,000, claiming the ride's design and safety measures were seriously lacking. Disney didn't do enough to prevent injuries or properly enforce weight limits, leading to his life-altering accident. Blizzard Beach might be all about fun, fake snow, and icy thrills, but Eugene's lawsuit is a sharp reminder that even family-friendly rides carry risks when safety standards slip or your enthusiasm outpaces caution. Water slides bring laughs, but Eugene's story proves the danger is real and sometimes costly. Monorail collision. When you think of Disney's monorail, you probably picture a sleek, futuristic ride gliding smoothly over the park. But on February 5, 2009, that image shattered in a very real way. At Walt Disney World, monorail pink and purple collided head-on because of a simple yet catastrophic switch error. A glitch sent both trains onto the same track at the same time. One operator lost their life and 7 others were injured, a nightmare no one expects at the happiest place on Earth. This tragic accident exposed a hard truth. Even Disney's cutting-edge transport system isn't immune to human and mechanical error. Behind the polished image and pixie dust, serious dangers can and do lurk when safety protocols slip. Disney responded swiftly by revamping safety measures, but the 2009 monorail crash remains a stark reminder that even in the happiest place on Earth, things can go wrong with just one flipped switch. Every ride feels safe until you remember the Disney monorail crash. Proof that accidents can happen anywhere, even above the magic. Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. Cartoon mischief rules the road on Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, where guests take the wheel through non-stop zaniness. But in 2009, this seemingly harmless attraction turned tragic when 4-year-old Brandon Zucker slipped from his vehicle during the ride and was dragged underneath, suffering critical injuries that eventually led to his death. Reports indicate that Brandon somehow fell out of the spinning car, a ride designed for small children, before being pulled under the moving vehicle. The accident raised serious questions about the ride's safety restraints and supervision. Located in Disneyland, California, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin has always been a kid-friendly favorite, blending humor and zany animation. However, this tragic incident exposed how even rides meant for the youngest visitors carry real risks if safety measures aren't airtight. The heartbreaking death of Brandon Zucker reminds us that amusement parks, despite their bright colors and cheerful mascots, can quickly become dangerous places when something goes wrong. Disney tightened safety rules after the incident, but it's a stark reminder that guests are never completely safe. America Sings. Cheerful animatronic animals and classic tunes brought America Sings to life when it debuted at Disneyland in 1974. But just 9 days after its debut, the show became the scene of a heartbreaking tragedy. On July 8, 1974, 18-year-old hostess Deborah Gale Stone was working inside the rotating theater. This theater design moved audiences from scene to scene by slowly turning a large wall every 2 to 4 minutes. Unfortunately, the system created a dangerous pinch point between the rotating wall and a stationary structure. Deborah somehow ended up trapped in that narrow gap as the wall began to move. Whether she fell, stepped backward, or attempted to cross between stages is unclear, but the result was fatal. She was crushed between the walls and died from her injuries by the time help arrived. Guests initially thought Deborah's screams were part of the show, delaying assistance. Her tragic death exposed a critical safety flaw in the ride's design that had been overlooked. Disneyland immediately closed the attraction, installed warning lights, and remodeled the walls to break away if anyone became trapped again. The ride reopened just 3 days later. This devastating incident is a grim reminder that even in the happiest places, danger can hide behind the scenes. America Sings was meant to be a joyful celebration, but Deborah's death exposed the harsh reality that safety must never be taken for granted, even amid singing animals and smiling audiences. Sailing ship Columbia. Impalement. A peaceful Frontierland cruise aboard the sailing ship Columbia took a deadly turn on Christmas Eve 1998. A heavy metal cleat, a device used to secure ropes, came loose from the ship's deck and struck visitors with tragic consequences. That day, 33-year-old guest Luan Phai Dawson and his wife, 43-year-old Liu Tui Vuong, were aboard the ship when the cleat tore free and hit both in the head. Their son, grandchild, and other visitors watched in horror. Dawson was rushed to the hospital but was declared brain dead 2 days later at UCY Medical Center in Orange, California. His life support was disconnected, marking a heartbreaking end. Another park employee, Christine Carpenter, was also injured during the accident. Investigations revealed that maintenance failures allowed the cleat to tear loose, a critical safety oversight on what was meant to be a calm, family-friendly attraction. The incident prompted OSHA to fine Disney, and the company eventually settled a lawsuit for nearly $25 million. The tragedy forced Disney to overhaul its maintenance standards and safety protocols across its fleet of ships to prevent similar disasters in the future.
Let's dive in. It's finally time for the open discussion.
Roller coasters are all about thrills, but this Disney ride has a history that's more chilling than exciting. Linked to tragic deaths, it makes you wonder, what went wrong? Are these freak accidents or something more? Would you still take the ride after hearing this? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to mention #OpenDiscussion. People Mover. Smooth rides and futuristic vibes defined the People Mover, gliding guests high above Tomorrowland's bright promise. Launched in 1967, it smoothly whisked guests through suspended tracks, giving panoramic views of the park. But behind its smooth ride lay a darker story few visitors knew. Tragedy struck just a month after opening, when a 16-year-old boy from Hawthorne, California, was killed during a risky stunt. He jumped between two moving People Mover cars in a tunnel, stumbled, and fell onto the track. An oncoming train crushed him and dragged his body hundreds of feet before the train was stopped. This fatal accident was a grim reminder that even Disney's happiest places have hidden dangers. Over the years, other incidents followed, like in 1972, when a teenager fell 30 feet trying to retrieve lost mouse ears and later sued Disney for lack of warnings. On June 7, 1980, another tragedy occurred when an 18-year-old was crushed while jumping between moving cars as the ride entered a tunnel. The People Mover's innovative design involved complex moving parts and constant maintenance, sometimes putting workers and riders in harm's way. These incidents cast a long shadow over the ride, pushing Disney to tighten safety protocols. Though the People Mover operated until 1995, its legacy is tinged with tragedy, a reminder that even in fantasy worlds, real dangers can lurk just beneath the surface. Indiana Jones Adventure. What could go wrong on a ride inspired by Hollywood's most daring archaeologist? Disneyland's Indiana Jones Adventure isn't just about dodging rolling boulders and fiery traps. It's also linked to a tragic accident that changed how Disney handles ride safety. In 2000, Cristina Moreno, a 23-year-old cast member from Barcelona, Spain, lost her life after an accident involving the ride during routine maintenance. Moreno had been working behind the scenes when she was struck by a ride vehicle. Afterward, she complained of a severe headache and was hospitalized that same evening. 2 months later, she died from a brain aneurysm. Her family filed a wrongful death lawsuit, alleging Disney pushed the ride's design to the extreme, citing its fast, turbulent motions and roller coaster-like ups and downs. Disney denied any connection between the ride and her death, maintaining the attraction was safe. The investigation revealed safety protocol missteps and communication failures. Disney eventually settled the lawsuit in 2003. Christina's story is a sobering reminder that even in a place built on joy and fantasy, the line between adventure and tragedy can blur. The Indiana Jones Adventure remains a thrilling ride, but behind the magic lies a history marked by real risk. This tragedy forced Disney to reevaluate its safety measures, especially for cast members working behind the scenes, showing that the thrills aren't just for guests, but sometimes come with dangerous consequences. It's a Small World. Bright scenes and an unforgettable tune turn It's a Small World into a pure, cheerful spectacle. But behind the cheerful facade, this beloved Disney ride hides a darker moment that might make you think twice before humming along. On August 18, 1994, a 6-year-old girl from Miami experienced something no parent wants to imagine. While the boat was still in the loading area at Magic Kingdom, she somehow fell out of the ride. It happened right where safety was assumed, sparking shock across Disney and the public. The It's a Small World ride, known worldwide since its debut at the 1964 World's Fair before moving to various Disney parks, is designed to be gentle and family-friendly. This incident uncovered a vital safety failure: a child falling from a slow boat in the very spot cast members are tasked to protect. Thankfully, the girl survived, but the accident highlighted the need for improved safety measures, especially for younger riders. Disney tightened protocols around boat loading and passenger restraint, but this incident remains a reminder that even the most innocent rides can have unexpected risks lurking beneath the surface. Jungle Cruise. Adventure and laughs are the Jungle Cruise's specialty, yet one disabled woman's journey ended with heartbreak instead of humor. Joanne Aguilar, a guest at Disneyland, fell while getting off the Jungle Cruise boat, an incident that spiraled into something far worse than anyone expected: septic shock, which ultimately took her life. According to reports, Aguilar, who had mobility challenges, didn't receive the help she needed from cast members. The family alleges that staff not only failed to assist properly, but also reportedly laughed at her before the fall. When every second counted, all there was laughter. The fall itself wasn't immediately fatal, but it caused serious injuries that led to septic shock, a life-threatening infection. The family's lawsuit claims negligence, pointing fingers at Disney's failure to provide adequate care for guests requiring assistance. It's wild to think that amid the jokes and puns of the Jungle Cruise, such a serious safety lapse occurred. Cast members are trained to keep guests safe, especially those with disabilities, but this incident exposed a troubling gap between the script and reality. The skipper's jokes may be funny, but the real danger lurks in moments when help doesn't come through. Primeval World. Expect dizzying twists and non-stop action. Primeval World delivered prehistoric thrills at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Instead, it became the site of not one, but 2 tragic accidents involving cast members falling from the platform and ultimately losing their lives. In November 2007, Karen Price, 63 years old, fell from the ride's platform and died from her injuries. Just a few years later, in March 2011, 52-year-old Russell Roscoe suffered a similar fate, falling and later succumbing to head trauma. Disney's prehistoric thrills took a dark turn with 2 deaths in just a few years. These tragedies exposed glaring safety issues for the staff working around the ride. The platform's safety measures weren't enough to prevent these deadly falls. After the incidents, Disney finally installed staff-sensing safety sensors designed to better protect employees from slipping or falling into harm's way. The harsh reality is that sometimes, even in the happiest place on Earth, workplace safety gets overlooked until it's too late. Primeval Whirl shut down in 2020, leaving behind a stark reminder: a single slip can be deadly, and danger isn't always in the spotlight. Dinosaur. What was supposed to be a wild chase through prehistoric chaos at Animal Kingdom turned tragic in 2005 when a thrill ride ended in disaster. On April 30th, 2005, a 30-year-old man from Mooresville, Indiana, lost consciousness shortly after exiting the ride and died from a heart attack. He had a pacemaker and an underlying medical condition. Investigations confirmed the ride was operating correctly and was not the cause of his death. Sometimes, even the safest rides can't beat fate. The ride's jerky motions and sudden drops make it intense. Not for everyone, especially those with heart problems. Disney warns guests accordingly. In a separate incident in 2013, a woman found a loaded pistol left in a ride vehicle. The gun's owner claimed ignorance of Disney's no-weapons policy despite holding a concealed carry permit. The firearm was reported and handled by authorities with no injuries. Despite these episodes, Dinosaur remains a well-maintained, safe ride that thrills millions every year. The 2005 tragedy is a sobering reminder that no matter how strict safety protocols are, some risks, like underlying health issues or human errors, can't be fully prevented. Mission Space. Intense G-forces and simulated space travel. Mission Space at Epcot turns everyday guests into astronauts. But in 2005, that intensity proved fatal for 4-year-old Dowdy Bamuwamye. Dowdy, visiting from Pennsylvania with his family, rode the simulator with his mother in June 2005. He suddenly fell unconscious mid-ride and later died. An autopsy revealed an undiagnosed heart defect that caused cardiac arrhythmia, making him vulnerable to the ride's extreme physical stress. His family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Disney, accusing the park of negligence. Their lawyer argued that inviting young children on such an intense ride was dangerous. They also claimed Disney failed to keep a defibrillator nearby, despite promoting its use to treat heart emergencies. Disney denied the allegations but responded by installing clearer warning signs about the ride's intensity, stressing it's unsuitable for young children, pregnant women, and those with heart problems. They also introduced a milder green mission option to offer thrills with less strain. Before Dowdy's death, local paramedics had already responded to over 130 mission space emergencies, sending some riders to hospitals. This tragedy highlights the challenge of balancing adrenaline-pumping thrills with guest safety. Even with warnings and precautions, some risks, especially hidden medical conditions, can't be fully prevented. Mission Space still launches guests into simulated space, but Dowdy's story reminds us that real lives are at stake on the ride to the stars. Space Mountain. It's all mystery and mayhem inside Space Mountain, Disney's wildest ride in the dark. But in 2016, it became part of a heartbreaking story when 6-year-old Raymay Masarwa, terminally ill with cancer, fainted during the ride and later died. Before alarm bells ring, it's important to note Raym's death was due to natural causes linked to his illness, not the ride itself. Still, it raises tough questions about whether high-intensity rides are appropriate for vulnerable guests. Since opening in 1975, Space Mountain has thrilled millions, but it has a darker side. Several deaths have occurred, including a 10-year-old girl with a heart condition in 1980 and 2 others in 2006 with pre-existing conditions. Raym's fainting was just one in a series of incidents involving vulnerable riders. Injuries have also happened. A Texas tourist lost a finger in 1998, and 9 passengers were hurt in 2000 when the ride stopped abruptly. Maintenance issues led to a temporary shutdown in 2013 after a contractor was injured. Disney warns guests about health risks and urges riders to assess their fitness. But when bodies are already fragile, even the gentlest thrill can have tragic consequences. Raym's story is a sobering reminder that rides like Space Mountain walk a fine line between excitement and risk. Disney can manage safety checks all it wants, but some battles happen far beyond its control. Matterhorn bobsleds. Disneyland's brightest smiles once faded when 48-year-old Regina Young lost her life on the Matterhorn bobsleds, proving the park's magic can turn tragic. Young, a San Jose resident, was killed Tuesday when she fell from the ride and was struck by another bobsled. According to officials, she was seated alone in the rear section of the 8-passenger bobsled. About halfway through the ride, she somehow exited the vehicle and landed on the track. A following sled, traveling at approximately 20 miles per hour, struck her. She died instantly. Her seatbelt was found unbuckled but intact. Park officials confirmed there was no mechanical malfunction. Young was visiting Disneyland with 4 friends who were seated ahead of her and unaware of the fall. The ride shut down automatically within 30 seconds, but it was too late. The Matterhorn was closed temporarily following the accident. This incident marks the 5th fatality involving a Disneyland ride and the 9th death in the park's history since it opened in 1955. Other ride-related deaths include a youth crushed on the People Mover in 1980, 2 teens who drowned near Tom Sawyer's Island, and a park employee. The Matterhorn bobsleds, a high-speed ride featuring tight turns and enclosed tunnels, is among several attractions with tragic histories. Despite these rare incidents, Disneyland emphasized that over 230 million people have visited the park safely over the decades. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay informed, stay safe, and we'll be back soon with more stories that reveal the hidden side of places you thought you knew.